Hi, my name is Jacob Childress, and this is my video on music appreciation, why I'm studying it, and the different eras of music and evolution of classical music. Now, to start off, the question is, why am I doing this class for music appreciation? Well, I like music a lot, like mostly anyone in the world nowadays. And I thought to myself, what better way to learn music besides actually playing an instrument is to learn the history of music and why music has been such a big part of every culture that is in today's world. And why not study the culture of the music itself? And, it's a very interesting thing to learn. It's a very interesting part of culture that we need to understand and to, as it says, appreciate. Even though some of it is not our forte or our taste of music, but it's still something to serve as a historical point in our music of today's world compared to ancient music from thousands of years ago. But anyway, the eras of music that I'm looking at today in this class are medieval or ancient period of music, which is like a thin texture of music and was kind of really the start of this periodization of the musical eras in today's world. This medieval slash historical, ancient music is what really kicks off the thin texture, which was introduced into churches and introduced in holy places like synagogues or temples or anything that had a place where they would have singers, usually one singer, or sometimes even a group of singers, that would sing in like a holy matrimony, as some of it would describe. The next period of music after this is the Renaissance period, which is famous for its polyphony, which is a type of musical texture consisting of either 2, 3, or even more simultaneous lines of independent melody. This is what kind of really brought the music to the forefront of the early churches during that time, and it's what really made holy music like that much more popular. And because of polyphony, it was able to have more than one simultaneous melody, even harmony as well. But that was the big point of the Renaissance period. And then after that, you have the Baroque and the Classical period. Now, Baroque was introducing more, or a new kind of melodic system, which is called counterpoint. And what counterpoint is, it's the art of combining different melodic lines, sorry if I said that wrong, in a musical composition. Now, what they consist of is harmonically interdependent yet independent at the same time, so that it doesn't really matter if they're separate or the same, in rhythm and melodic counter. Now, if 2 or more voices are playing at the same time, and one is like a soprano or a high-pitched voice, and then the other is like a bass player, like a very, very low voice, then you have these 2 people, or these 2 singers, being able to sing the same song, but they're singing it in different tones, but yet at the same rhythm. So it's like counterbalancing the sound to make an equal rhythm, almost. You could say it's like a clash of tones too, if you want, but it's really to like see the beauty of both the high voices and the low voices kind of clash together and combined the melodic lines in music composition. Then the next one after that is classical era, which introduces another new kind of music, I guess composition if you'd like to say, which is homophony. And homophony is a texture in which primary part is supported by one or more additional strands that provide the harmony. This was used by Mozart and very other famous classical music users like Beethoven. Beethoven was from the Boréas period, but he did make some classical music afterwards. But that was who used homophony, and homophony is like additional music playing. So if you have your singers, then you have the instruments, then you would have music players being provided additional strands, as like for say you would play a solo, or you would play a part of a song that was meant for specifically that instrument. So either way, it would work to balance out the music in, like, say, a big area, like a stage play, and when you hear the music, it would be able to kind of fill your ears more and be more balanced in a way. Almost like the last one that I tried to explain too, the counterpoint. It's like having the same people playing at a high and low pitch, but then they try to intertwine here in the middle and connect more in a way. The next one after classical is, of course, the Romantic. Now, Romantic, that's just more of like an over-dramatic kind of way that made music more popular in the classical sense, and it made music more like big, like dramatic, like grandiose. It made it look like it was like a magnum opus of like the music era, but really it was just an over dramatization of what music would be now. And then after that, of course, you have your modern and contemporary. And this had introduced two new types of music, which is called consonance and dissonance. Now, consonance was more of a soothing sound. It was like some sort of sweetness to it that people would hear and kind of recognize, like it could be like a church kind of music, it could be classical music, it could be something that inspires people, something that makes them feel like they're a hero even, or they feel like they're more than what they are now. Kind of lifting their spirits. Now, dissonance, on the other hand, was more harsh and unpleasant. It would be like something sad, something that you would find disturbing even, or you would be somewhat unaccepting of it. Like it'd be like a bad taste in your stomach sometimes, and it's really the negative parts of music that's introduced. Now, it's like you could say these two would be the almost exact same as like yin and yang. Like you have a light side, then you have a dark side, then they both connect together and intertwine, and that's why you have consonance and dissonance. Okay, and then after this, I'm also going to have to talk about two songs that I chose from when I was born and 20 years before I was born. Alright, so to continue on with this next section, this will be about two different songs from two different years. One from the year I was born in, which is 2003, and the other song from 1983, which was 20 years before I was born, and certain events that took place and kind of compare and contrast them. But first off, I'll read off 2003, and the song I chose was Why Don't You and I by Satana and Alex Band, and these are the events that happened in 2003, the year that I was born in. Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, and Finding Nemo were released. A loaf of bread was $1.45, milk was $2.76, and gas was $1.53. George W. Bush was president, and the Iraq War had begun, and the last known speaker of the Akala Sami language passes away, making the language itself extinct, basically. Then 20 years before I was born, the song called Rock of Ages by Def Leppard was released, and these are the events that took place in that year. Return of the Jedi is released for the first time. Every Breath You Take by The Police was the song of the summer of '83. Michael Jackson's album Thriller spent 22 weeks at number 1. Ronald Reagan had become president. The migration of the ARPANET to TCP/IP is officially completed, and Yamoussoukro officially becomes the Ivorian political capital after transfer from Abidjan. Okay, now these were the events that took place. Some of these events that I am talking about, or did just talk about, I will compare and contrast them. So, the comparisons that I drew between both of these years and what events took place were that both years had produced pretty good movies, such as Pirates of the Caribbean and Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And Thriller spent 22 weeks at number 1 and the Billboard 100 songs, and then a song called Drift Away, which was remade by Uncle Kracker, peaked in the top 15 of the same top 100 Billboard songs. Now, the contrast that I came to conclude with these years was that both years had different political and social problems, like the migration of ARPANET to the ICP/IP, and then the Iraqi War, and of course George W. Bush becoming president of when it happened. And then, it was before that, but same. It was 2 years apart, but it's almost the same. And to add to that, Yamoussoukro has officially become the Ivorian political capital, and then the last known speaker of the Akala Sami language passes away. And those are the comparisons and the contrasts of both 2003 and 1983. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope to see you again. Okay? Take care.